Hi, it's Elizabeth, and keeping it real with me, with E. And today is Monday, September the 27th of 2021. And I'm trying to keep things in order as much as possible. So if you're just new to watching me, I'm just diving in with my journey walk with my mother who had glioblastoma, brain cancer, and I eventually am going to video journal other things. Actually, I'm going to be pretty intense. But for this part, what was the catalyst for me to video journal was my mother's brain cancer diagnosis and what that walk looked like. So here I am today in 2021, and so here we are. Okay, so there was an incident that happened. My mom needed to have a scan because she had regular scans. About every 3 weeks, we had a scan done. She had to have a scan done in the midst of the chemo and the radiation and all the prescriptions that she had to take. And so at that time, I took her and dropped her off, which was not uncommon. I dropped her off and, hey, Mom, I love you. Everything's fine, And I mean, when you're full of medication, you're not okay. But I didn't have any clues or triggers that something was going off bad. I thought that we were making progress. And like I've said before in my previous journal entries, I wanted to be that family. I wanted to be that daughter with my mom that says we have a 3 to 5 year plan. I did not want to accept 14 to 16 months. I was like, no. Or even 12 to 14 months. No. I was thinking beyond that. So I got Mom settled and I dropped her off for her scan. And I went and had a lunch date with some 3 ladies. Now, this is why this is important. Okay, so this is why God is real, God is personal, and He is powerful, and He's crazy about you. And that's the whole premise of why I journal. So I'm sitting in a little private area of a small little of a restaurant, and there were 3 women with me: Renee, Allie, and Fatima. I never met Fatima in person, but I knew Allie and Renee. All 3 of these women had recently lost their mothers. They had recently lost their mothers within that year, within that scope of that time frame, which would have been 2018. And so anyway, we're all sitting there and we're having lunch and we're talking and just, getting to know each other on a more intimate, deeper level. And my phone rings and it says Peter Shedden, which is, if you're following me, Peter Shedden. Dr. Shedden is a neurologist. He focuses in on the brain. That is his passion and his love and his God-given talent to operate on. So I said, oh my gosh, why is he calling me? Because, my mom had gone in for her MRIs. And so he says, hey, your mom's scans are not looking good. We see some aggression happening. I need to go in and do surgery. And at this step, what we need to do is insert CHEMO WAFERS. So I'm listening to this on my phone. I have 3 other women sitting around me. And I remember that Renee told me that my face got just all the color drained from my face. And she's right, because I was just absorbing everything, but she said the color drained from your face. And then Peter said to me, do you think your mom is going to want, because she took one of those pills to kind of help you relax through an MRI and through, being all confined and all that stuff. And so she wasn't really capable of making a decision. And he says, we need to do surgery. I have to do an emergency surgery right now. But I need to put chemo wafers. And I said, well, what does that even mean? He says, well, basically it's chemo and it's going to be right there. And we're going to attack the glioblastoma tentacles that are trying to grow and spread. Okay. I was not prepared for that. Like, I thought we were doing everything right. Well, we were doing everything right, but he did tell me, I mean, I should have been prepared, but I think in my mind and in my heart and as a daughter, I didn't want this to be the reality, but this is the reality, is you can do everything that you can do, but this is an insidious brain cancer. So anywho, I said, yes, she will want that. She will want that. And I hung up the phone, and all three ladies that were across from me were like, what's going on? So I told them what's going on, and I just broke. And they all three said, well, we can leave you alone if you want. I said, I don't want to be left alone. I don't want to be left alone. This is not by happenstance that the three of us are together. Fatima lost her mother. It was like an unexpected stroke or a heart attack. I can't remember exactly. I'm sorry. I remember Renee lost her mother. It was a long time. It was Alzheimer's. And then Allie lost her mother. I think also it was like a stroke or heart attack situation. And all three of these ladies were in my presence right in front of me. And I'm taking this phone call. And I'm like, sucker punched. Again, another sucker punch. But they were there. Like, how did that happen? That I'm having lunch with these three ladies who've gone through their own walk with losing their mothers, and I get this phone call, radical phone call of, we need to do an emergency surgery, and by the way, I'm going to be putting, do I have your permission to put in chemo wafers in your mom's brain? And I will just tell you that when you put in chemo wafers in someone's brain, it's intense. It's hard. They are not the same ever. Ever. There were times when I felt like I was walking up and down those hallways at St. Luke's, and I remember I called my brother Brian and I said, I hear all these machines beeping, beep, 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 going off. I'm like, why as human beings, we're prolonging the inevitable. What? To make ourselves feel better? For what? And then I mean, that's just what I was thinking. Like I was feeling that. And for our situation, my mother wanted to do everything that she could because she adored and adores, us and her grandchildren. And she wanted to live. She wanted to live. And, but what happens with the chemo wafers is there's a lot of destruction, obviously. It's intense chemotherapy at the source. And it basically eats away little by little parts of that area, wherever that tumor happens to be at. And so it was pretty evident not too shortly after, Mom's memory was getting worse and worse. But she was happy. She did not look like herself at all. So let me just say something right here. If you have a loved one that is going through brain cancer and you have chemotherapy, chemo wafers in their brain or whatever they're going through, and the steroids, and they're physically changing. My mom was a 5'2" person. I'm 5'8", but my mom's 5'2", was 5'2", very petite, to a fat little chubby face. She never lost her hair, which was interesting, but they don't look like themselves. They don't feel like themselves. And all they want to be is normal. And that's what I said, what I recorded a few days ago. But nothing is normal. They're changing. They're changing physically. They're changing emotionally and mentally. And you can't protect them from it. And that's the hardest part, honestly, is you want to protect the person that you love so much from what's happening, but yet you're doing in their best interest at the same time, because they just want to live. Like they just want to make the most of every single thing. So in this particular situation, it meant chemo wafers. It meant we're being radical. Put them in, sew her up.